G'day guys, how we going? Well, here we are, back again after only chatting to you guys a few nights ago. Here we are now on a Sunday night live having a chat to you guys about weather apps and what are the best weather apps to use for the mighty Vic High Country. So tonight I'm going to have a chat to you a little bit about this because I certainly get asked a fair bit about this as to, how I monitor the weather as I go forward. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. So tonight I got two apps that I'm going to go through and I'll show you these ones. And yeah, I use these a stack. So we'll go into this as we go forward. Good to see there's a few of you on already. Steve, you use the Willy Weather. Yep, I know a few people that also use that one, but I've not used it before, and I'm glad everyone's coming through loud and clear and everyone can hear what's going on. They're all dropping in. G'day, Daz and Land Cruiser. Thanks very much, guys, there for coming in. Righto. So the best two apps that I've found, I'll be really interested to hear what you guys use. There's already a Willy Weather coming on already there. Ash, g'day, mate. How are you? There's already a Willy Weather there, but I'll go through the two apps that I've been used for many, many years, how I plan my trips and when I sort of start watching the weather as any trips are coming up. So the first one for me, one of the apps I'm going to give you doesn't give you any notifications, and then the other one gives you plenty of notifications, as I got a stack of them last week with the massive floods that we had down here in Victoria over the high country and surrounding areas over the last few days there last week. But we'll go into that. So the first one I'm going to talk about tonight is Weatherzone. Now, Weatherzone for me, I got my phone here, so I'll show you a little bit as much as this can as we go forward. So I'll just open that up. Now, Weatherzone is this one here. Now, this is one that I use a lot. Now, when do I start looking at the weather? Well, if I'm planning, and look, you can use these. We'll just get quickly into this. Look, these two apps I'm going to show you here right now. These two apps, you can use these anywhere in Australia. It's not just designated to the high country, but these are the two best that I've found that I use a lot for the Victorian High Country. So we'll make it fairly specific tonight, but yeah, you can use these anywhere around Australia. It's not just down here. And so with Weatherzone, the areas that I like to keep an eye on, with both of these apps, I've got the whole high country covered because I just like to know what's going on. I like to know if there's any weather changes and that sort of stuff. But for the areas that I've got here, so on Weatherzone, which is this one here, I'll just get back to the what I've got logged in here. So that's the ones over here. So I can check up on Bright, Falls Creek, Mansfield, Mount Buller, Tongaroggan, Mount Hotham, Dargo, my local area here in Traff, Omeo, Lacola, and Walhalla and Merrijig. Now, that's just a couple of areas. You can feed in, you can put whatever you want in there. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. Like I said, you can put Brisbane, Darwin, whatever you want to put in, you can put in there. And then, like say, for example, we'll click on Mount Hotham. Now, there's Mount Hotham now, and it brings you up the next 7 days of forecast with Mount Hotham all the way through for the next 7 days, all the way through right down to there. And what I do, if I'm going on a trip, I'll certainly look at maybe that weather forecast, maybe about a week out is when if I'm looking for a big trip, I'll start looking at it probably about a week out, particularly more so this time of year than probably any other time of year because it is so unpredictable with weather and what's going on. So I start looking about a week out just to get a bit of an idea on what's going to happen, for the day when I want to start my trip. And then when I really narrow it down, a week out will give you a bit of an idea, but where I really narrow it down is sort of when I start getting about 2, maybe 3 days max, but up to about 2 days. I'll have another good look at that sort of starting point on where you want to start that trip whether it be down here in the high country, and I'll have a look at it then, and it gives you a really accurate change because it can change a little bit from, say, a week out to, getting down to those last couple of days. But like, it's not going to change from a week out to be, -1 to a week later, it's going to be 40 degrees. It's not going to be any sort of massive drastic changes like that. But it'll give you a bit of an idea on, where there's maybe going to be a bit of rain or a bit of a temperature range, that sort of thing, a week out. So that's when I started looking at it then, and that sort of planned my trip around that. But it's those last couple of days is when I start really looking at it and then really narrow it down and seeing what the weather's going to do in those next couple of days before my trip starts. And the other thing that I do too, as I said, I've got all the high elevations all logged in there. Now, if you're going to do a trip, say, if I'm going to do a trip, say, around Dargo or, or Lacola or somewhere like that, well, and I'm planning to, head up onto the high plains, well, I'm not interested in what the weather's doing in Dargo and Lacola. That totally Fenningham is totally irrelevant. I want to know what's going to be happening up in the high plains when I get up in those areas. So I start looking at what the weather's going to be do. Mount Hotham, maybe Falls Creek gives you, and that's Falls Creek's one I've got there. That gives you a bit of an idea on, on temperature differences. Like, just for example, now, like Mount Hotham at the moment is sitting at 0.8 degrees. And then if we go to say Bright, which is only just down the hill, Bright is 9.6 degrees. So there's nearly 10 degrees difference between Bright and Mount Hotham. So I always want to know, on what's going on in the higher elevation temperatures, not so much what's going to be happening down the low country. And that's just the way I sort of look at my weather forecasts, and that's how I sort of plan them out going forward. I always want to know what's happening up in the high country, not so much down the low country, because I'm not going to be staying down the low country. So yeah, but look, as I say, you can put whatever locations you want in there. If I can put it in there, you can see them all going on in there, all the ones that I've got. And there's a couple of others there, but and then you just click on those and it'll give you a full 7 days. And the other big thing I'll do like about it, like if I just click on I'll just go back to it. If I click on say Mansfield, and then the other good thing with it, if you scroll up, it gives you, well, there's your current ones, but it gives you this graph here, which there's not much going on in the way of rain at the moment. See if I can find one that's got a bit of rain going on. Maybe my hometown might give us one. Let's have a bit of a look at that. Yeah, so there's not much rain at all going on there, but that graph there, if you scroll across that, it gives you the next sort of 48 hours of what rain coverage is going to be happening in those areas. And that Fed income is so on the money. It is well worth checking it out, that rain coverage there. And then you can just scroll through and see what's happening for the next few days going past, the days when you're planning to get away. So that's what I like looking at there. Depending amount, the Weatherzone app is my go-to app as well. Yeah, look, I find it too, mate. I find Weatherzone is a fantastic app. And the rain radar, which I can't show you because there's no rain going on, unfortunately, here at the moment. If I'd have did this live a couple of days ago, the whole screen would be green and yellow and reds and all sorts of stuff. But the radar, I find, and I've seen a few guys that that have got the BOM, the Bureau of Meteorology app on their phone too, and you look at the difference between the radars between that one and Weatherzone, and feeding them the Weatherzone radar is so detailed. It's fantastic. So that's one I certainly like to use there. And then we'll get into the other one, and that's the Vic Emergency app. Now, you're probably thinking, what do you want to use Vic Emergency app to monitor weather? Well, this is the second best app that I've found, and this is the one that gives you all the notifications. So if I just click on that Weatherzone now, and then these are the towns that I've got logged in here. So again, I've got the whole Victorian High Country covered. You can, when you log in an area, you can put whatever radius you want on them. So I've got the whole High Country from Mansfield right across Walhalla and right across to Tom Grogan. They all the radiuses all interlink. So I've got the whole High Country covered. So I know what's going on with the weather at all the time, 24/7. And I love listening to seeing what's going on. So if we go to say Lacola at the moment, so you can see my radius there, that little coloured circle, that's the radius I've got there. And anything that goes on within that radius is going to give me an instant notification. So this is where this app and Weatherzone feeding can work hand in hand, because like last week, this app here, was absolutely dinging like you got no idea. So if you see all those green lines there, they're all the ones that I've got active. Now, if you don't want to listen to any of these notifications, if they're going off too badly because they ding flat out if something's going on, you can just hit them. So if I just turn that one off, so let's turn it off, and then I won't get any notifications on that area for the one that Jamison I've just turned off. But then I'll just turn it back on, and all of a sudden I'll get the notifications going back on it. Now, that Weatherzone is a great app, particularly for, well, it's good for anyone, but if you're coming down from interstate and you want to do a trip down here in the high country, that is fair income, a great app to get and have all those notifications turned on for the areas you want to go into, set up all your radiuses, and, you know, you can set up all sorts of stuff from floods and fires and all sorts of other disasters that go on. And you'll get any notification that's going on in that area where you're planning to go. Because that's one thing with the Weatherzone, you know, you'll get an idea on what the weather's going to do, on where you're going maybe a few days out. But then while you're traveling down, you know, you might be heading down sort of 4 or 5 days before your trip. Start heading down from interstate, looking forward to a fantastic time out in the Vic High Country. And all of a sudden, you know, if you've got that with that Vic Emergency app, all of a sudden it starts dinging its head off through, you know, might be floods like last week, or, you know, massive rains or bushfires and that sort of stuff. So it's going to give you an instant notification, like right now, like to this second, you'll get an instant notification as to what's going on in those areas where you plan to go. And then, you know, and then you can see what's happening. So you might have to change your plans very, very quickly, you know, as to where you're going to go. And like if you haven't even left home, you know, it could be, you know, say a fortnight before you leave your trip, if you're in from interstate, and you got that Vic Emergency app on, and you got all your notifications turned on. Well, you know, you could be a week away before you even leave home, and all of a sudden all these notifications start going off to tell you what's going on here again from floods and bushfires, and then tracks get shut. So they're really good apps to use. I find they are the two best apps that I find to keep an eye on what's going on with the weather in that mighty Vic High Country. But as I say, you can use these anywhere around Australia, not just in here. So what are you guys using? Terrain tours there. You swear by Weatherzone, very accurate. Yeah, looks spot on. Same, mate. I find that Weatherzone is absolutely right on the money, and they're all free apps too. But the only downfall, if there is downfall with them, that they've got to be in phone reception. So, you know, you've got to be in reception to use them. That's the only probably downfall if there is one with them. But you know, when you're planning your trips before you leave home, well, you're going to be in phone reception anyway. So, you know, you can use both of those apps, but use them in conjunction with each other. So, they're the two best apps that I found. Absolutely. G'day, Ben. How you going there, mate? Good to see you on here. Tuck in Windy app too. Really helps to see what things are coming up from. Yeah, look, I've not heard that one, mate. I must check that one out, Ben. But yeah, good to see you on here tonight, mate. Jim, Weatherzone pulls data from the bomb. All right, I didn't know that, but I've just seen, like, yeah, when you just talk about those two, as I sort of talked a little bit briefly before about the difference between Weatherzone and the bomb, I've seen the two radars between side by side and feeding them the radar that comes off Weatherzone. I'm talking about rain radar here. The rain radar that comes off Weatherzone is feeding them. I reckon it's so much more detailed than what comes off the bomb. But I'll just quickly go back to Weatherzone. I'll just show you something else, particularly for this time of year, which is really handy. So if I say go to Mount Hotham, and then I click on this little icon at the top up here, and then I get this other drop-down box. So that's where you get your radars and all that sort of stuff. Well, you got another one here, which you can click on. So Mount Hotham, you got all the snow camps. You can click on the snow camps. So if you have a look at that, you can see all the areas around the high country that you can click on to have a look at snow camps. So if we go to, you're not going to probably see much now because it's all dark. But so if we click on the Mount Hotham one, you know, if you had a look at that during the day, well, you'd get an idea on how much snow's full. As I say, unfortunately, it's dark at the moment, so you can't see much what's going on the snow camps. But they're well worth checking out all the time. If we go to Mount Buller's the same. You know, click on that little icon at the top there, and then we go down to snow cams. Where's Mount Buller? Mount Buller's over there, and then and that'll give you all the up to date snow cams, so you can get a bit of an idea on, you mightn't be going to Mount Buller, but you can see how much snow's been falling at that sort of elevation. Buller's up sort of that 1700 odd to the summit sort of there. So if you're going to be up around sort of that and in that sort of area, where you might be up around that 12, 13, 1400 odd, and you can see how much snow's sitting on Mount Buller at the moment. Well, it's going to give you a pretty good idea on how much snow you're probably going to have to deal with. So that's what I recommend anyway. That's the apps, and I wouldn't change them for quids because, the Weatherzone and that Vic Emergency app. But I will go into maybe a bit more detail with how other things with Vic Emergency app because there's a stack goes on with that one, but we'll look at that a bit further on, a bit later on as we go into other things for some safety things and all that sort of stuff. Darren, I like to use Weatherzone, the Weatherzone radar. I like to know my location when up in the bush and see what's coming up. Yeah, mate, the radar on Weatherzone is top notch. It's fair income. It's great. Luca, Vic Emergency app is priceless, especially in summer with all the bushfires. Yeah, looks spot on, mate. And you can use that Vic Emergency app. That is great for all year round, and that's pretty much designated to only down here. Weatherzone, you can put in whatever areas you want, all around Australia. I'm sure there's other areas, other apps, like that Vic Emergency app for other states as well. But the Vic Emergency app is really pretty much only designated for down here. So check those out, Graham. About snow up here in the Orange, New South Wales. Yeah, look, there's been a stack of snow. Certainly a stack of snow falling, mate, and there's no doubt about that. Plenty of it going on. So, we'll see how much sort of more comes. I think there's more coming too next week. So we'll see how that all pans out. Land Cruiser, try not to have live chat on when the Tigers are playing. Well, I'm a bit of a Richmond supporter too, mate. But, I don't mind watching the Tigers. I'll watch them a bit later on maybe. You always use Weatherzone. So there's a lot of people using Weatherzone, which is pretty good. Go, Robert. How you going, mate? Good. Thanks for dropping in tonight. Alexander, do you know of any frequencies on UHF and VHF that can tune into weather forecasts on? Not sure with UHF, but I'm sure there's probably maybe some with VHF. But yeah, I can't really tell you much about VHF, mate. So yeah, not sure about that, but I'm sure there probably would be because of the frequencies that the VHF would probably pick up. Paul, how you going there, mate? Willie Weather is pretty good. There we go. There's another one for Willie's. Archie, have you heard about the mysterious high country yodeler? No, I haven't. No, there's probably a lot of mystery stuff going on in the high country, and that's probably another one of them. Alex, how you going there, mate? Anyone know if New South Wales emergency is in New South Wales emergency exists? No, I'm not sure about that one up there. So you might have to just check that one out. G'day, Shane. Weatherzone. Get the data from the government-owned weather station. Yeah, righto. That's pretty cool there. But yeah, Weatherzone. There's a lot of people using Weatherzone, which is pretty good to see because they're feeding them the best couple of apps that I can find anyway for down here in the mighty High Country and most accurate. G'day, Connor. How you going, mate? Do you use Telstra? Actually, mate, I've just jumped ship. Can you believe it? I've been bagging Telstra people out for so many years because, the reason why I stayed on Optus is because when I go bush, people can't contact me. But I've been on Optus for 20 plus years, and I've just jumped ship to Telstra now. And so I'm now on the dark side, mate. So I'm one of these Telstra people that can get a little bit of reception in places where I normally wouldn't have. So that's where I go. So that's why I'm on Telstra now, mate. Graham, how are you, mate? Can snow all its likes? Mrs. and I are off to Cape in 5 weeks. Yeah, well, mate, I don't think you're going to probably see too much snow up in the Cape, mate. And hopefully you get a good trip up there and hopefully you can get across everything that's going on at the moment. That'll be an absolute crack. Actually, good time to go probably now too. The weather will be amazing up there, all the way through South Australia or South Oz and up into the Cape. Be sensational, mate. So have a cracking trip there, Graham. Maybe have a good one. Jason, Weatherzone is brilliant. The maps on the Vic Emergency app when zoomed in. Yeah, I'll do probably a bit more of a detailed maybe video on that Vic Emergency because there's a thing and there's a lot goes to it with not just weather notifications. There's a heap goes with that one. It's well worth having, that's for sure. Doesn't matter whether you live down here or, if you're interstate and you're coming down for the first time, it's well worth checking it out because there's a stack of information. That one spits out if you've got all the stuff loaded up on it. Land Cruiser, do you carry a sat phone? No, I don't. I had a sat phone, one of those Theodor or whatever they're called, sleeve things for my iPhone, maybe 5-6 odd years ago, and it was I didn't rate that at all. Didn't do what it meant to do. So no, I don't have a sat phone at all. So I just got my phone and UHF and try and plan my trips as well. And plus I got my PLB there. If a best location beacon, if something really, really goes wrong, and and then the other thing too, which I'm not sure if you guys have seen that video, how to connect up to the repeater towers. They're well worth knowing about how to use them and where they are as well. So well worth having a look at them. But no, I don't have a sat phone, mate, for those reasons. G'day, Brett. G'day, Brett. How you going there, mate? I'm sure you're probably seeing a bit of maybe a bit of snow action going on over your side over there at Tolmy. Hopefully you're staying warm and all going on good over there, mate. Must catch up again soon. CRJ, how you going there, mate? Elders weather app I use, plus the news and radio stations. Right, yeah, news and radio stations are always good. Like ABC is a fantastic. That's why I have that long whip aerial on the front of me patrol there on the bull bar. It's purely just so I can get extra radio reception, like AM, FM, or pretty much AM radio when I'm out there in the high country, and it's purely only so I can get weather updates all year round, especially during summertime for total fire bans and all that sort of stuff. Pete, how's the old King Billy tree going? I haven't been past the King Billy tree for a few years. It's a fantastic tree, that one up there just past Lovick's. But I haven't been past it for a little while, mate. It's a cracking tree though, that's for sure. King's Fisho, how you going there, mate? Are you done camping in the high country for the next few months, mate? I'm never going to be done. I'd like to see some other parts of Australia. Don't worry about that. But I'm never ever going to be done camping in the high country. It's it's just something about it. I just love the place, mate. And you just never know what's going to throw you any day of the week. So it's the unpredictability of the joint that I probably like. But no, I'm never going to be done with it. That's for sure. Go, Paul. How you going, mate? Use both Weatherzone and Vic Emergency apps. Magnificent apps. Hope all is safe up. Yeah, all good up here, mate. No worries. All high and dry here in Gippsland after that massive rains that we had last week. Now, when we talk about notifications, sort of this phone was absolutely dinging its head off there last week with all the flood notifications that were coming through on that Vic Emergency app, not the Weatherzone, but on the Vic Emergency app. They were just feeding them, dinging constantly. And there's still a few and still coming through on some areas, even though the rain has stopped down here for probably the last sort of maybe couple of days, last 24, 48 hours. There's not been a great deal of rain, but the rivers are still rising. So, the flood warnings are still coming through on that app. So that Vic Emergency app, well worth getting hold of for those reasons, for the instant notifications, that's for sure. Jason, snow cams, just tried it, learned something new every day. No worries. Check them out during the daylight, mate, because you'll get a much better one. But there's a cracking one too, Jason, if you don't know about it, mate, the snow cams. There's one up on Mount Hotham, and it's a fantastic, it's almost a 360 degrees, just constant, just keeps going round and round and round and round. It's a cam up there, and it shows you magnificent views of Mount Hotham and and beyond and that sort of thing. So check that one out as well, other than the ones that I've just shown you that you can see on Weatherzone. Check out that Mount Hotham cams. It's a great cam to have a look at. Really, really good. Check out. High Country, yeah, go High Country Taxidermy. How you going there, mate? Rain Parrot goes all right. Righto, yeah. Patriot, I'm not sure about that one. I don't know about that one, but maybe a few using that one. Camp Culture, how you going there, mate? Craig's Hut open. It is, mate, but as I mentioned in a video there last week and chat on Thursday night, it's a bit hard to get there at the moment. There's only really one way to get to Craig's at the moment, and that's out through if you're coming from Mansfield, that is, from out through Sheepyard, Bluff Link, down the 16 mile, which don't do 16 mile at the moment because it's too damn wet, be too scary going down there. Otherwise, just take Bluff Link all the way to bottom, Bindery Road, Monument Track, and then up to Craig's. That way is your only way, both ways, if you want to go from Mansfield back to Mansfield. The other ways, Circuit Road, from Telephone Box Junction, are all closed at the minute, and so is section of number 3 track, which was probably the main way around. But you can't get there at the moment, so that's all closed up too. So that's your only way in, mate. That's for sure. Ben, I generally use Weatherzone, but found Willy Weather more accurate, righto, for regional areas with rainfall and temperatures. Righto, there's some other feedback there for Willy Weather. A few guys are using it. There's no, and I've sort of seen it going on, but yeah, I just do like the Weatherzone. Luca, King Billy tree is approximately 200 metres. Yep. Yeah, it is. It's an amazing tree, that one, if you have not seen it. Yeah, great tree, that's for sure. Lifted camping in the Vic High Country is definitely magnificent. Yeah, it is, mate. It is a great spot. Sensational spot, mate. And yeah, just never know what it's going to throw at you, particularly when it's coming to the weather. It's so unpredictable, that's for sure. Kings, how you going there, mate? I meant due to the weather. Oh, right. No, that's all good, mate. No worries there at all for the fix up there. Alexander, I was tracking incidents in my suburbs. Went from about 50 to what's that? At 50 at 9:10 p.m. to like 300 by 6. Yeah, yeah. It like I'm not sure what area you're in though, but maybe you're in Alexander, are you? But yeah, the weather app was just that. Particularly that Weatherzone was just, the notifications were just coming through flat out constantly, like seconds apart over that 4 to 24, 48 hours when we had all that massive rain down here. G'day, Eric. I'll be downloading those apps. Thanks for the heads up. No worries. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Jump on them. You can get them for, it doesn't matter whether you got Apple phone or Android, whatever. And they're all free apps. Jump on them, and then you just set up the settings that you want, set up the areas that you want to sort of, you want to get notifications on, particularly with the Vic Emergency app. And then you just, check them out, whatever you want. And then that's the way to go, and turn the notifications off. If you don't want to monitor those areas at certain times of year, we'll just hit that button and it'll just turn off. You won't get any notifications for those times. So yeah, well worth checking those couple out, that's for sure. Another one here for Weatherzone. Yeah, good on you, Neil. That's great, mate. Big fella. I might be moving down to Eildon from Bathurst later this year, coming down from New South down to the mighty High Country, mate. Will give me his chance to see some of the High Country at last. Yeah, it'll be great, mate. Go and check it out, because there's a stack to go and have a look at. There's plenty of it to see, mate. But check out those few apps. G'day, Brumbridge Run. How you going, mate? Bomb app and Vic Emergency app seem to have you covered. Yeah, like I said, yeah, I certainly have seen the bomb app, the Bureau of Meteorology app. But yeah, I just do like the Weatherzone and that Vic Emergency app. You know, you've got it covered there. They certainly do work really well hand in hand as you go forward. Leanne's on somewhere there. G'day, Gorgie 350. I heard the yodeler got frostbite. Well, he might have, mate, because I tell you what, it's been damn cold here over the last few weeks. It's been really cold, and there's plenty more cold stuff coming over the next few weeks. Don't worry about that. Paul, how many magnificents can we get into one live? How many do you want, mate? I can throw in another couple more magnificents if you like, because I do like that word. It is a pretty magnificent word. But yeah, we'll leave that when there. But we'll sign off with a magnificent and see how we go with that. But I'll try and drop a few out as we go here. Go forward. Alexander, in the Dandenongs, mate. All right. In the Dandenongs, warnings with creeks and rivers down here first rising fast. Yeah, heard they were evacuating people in Traralgon too. Yeah, Traralgon copped an absolute hiding there over that sort of 24, 48-hour days there last week. Yeah, lots of areas went under, supermarkets, underground car parks, all that sort of stuff. Feeding them full on what happened all down through there and right through, Traralgon and down to Lacola and Hayfield, all that sort of area. Yeah, really hit really, really badly. So hopefully they can recover and get back on track really quickly down those areas there. Leanne, a magnificent topic tonight. No worries. I hope you've found that interesting, and it's all good. we might start wrapping this up, but Darren's got one there. I think still waiting for you to try out your spaghetti, Vegemite, and cheese jaffle. Right, I'll have to get onto that, mate. One of my next trips. Vegemite and cheese and spaghetti and cheese. I'm not sure about that one, but we'll see how we go. Righto. We'll wrap this one up. Lou's there, mate. I'll be downloading those. Get on those apps, mate. They are fitting them. They are great. Well worth checking it out. And Ben there, mate. The CFA maps are brilliant. Yeah, I've got actually one of the books from the CFA. They are a great book. Unfortunately, not ordered online due to IP nut rights. That's right. Well, yeah, I've got one of the books, and they are absolutely super detailed. Righto, guys. We'll wrap this one up, and I hope you've found that one very, very interesting, and hope it's going to help you out with the two of the best apps that I've found that I use for the mighty Vic High Country. Those two, Weatherzone and the Vic Emergency app, and we'll go into a bit more detail down the track about the Vic Emergency app, because there's a stack that goes on with that one, and there's so much more to it than just giving you notifications. But it's how it all works. It's a fantastic app, so jump on it. Righto, guys. You have a cracking one, and thanks very much there for tuning in. And new video coming up tomorrow night, another travel video, and we'll see you maybe next week. Good on you guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. Hooroo. Catch you later on. See ya. Love these chats. They're good.